Hello audience. In part 1 of this lesson on impact of liberalization, privatization and globalization on Indian economy, Mr. D. N. Rao explained us the situation prevailing in India before 1990, the measures initiated by the government of India to rectify the situation and the process through which these reforms were introduced in our economy. And we are actually discussing the impact of all these measures initiated by the government of India on our economy. So, Mr. D. N. Rao, let us continue our discussion. Will you please explain further about the impact of these measures on our economy?
Yeah. The impact of this new economic package has been multifold on the Indian economy, and I would touch broadly the impact.
Okay.
One is among the reforms, the most profound one is the scrapping of licenses, etc., and rationalization of tariff, and this has provided businesses in India to think competitively and also to think globally. Earlier there was no comparison to think, I mean whatever comparison we had to make within ourselves. So now it was they were able to think globally. The GDP growth, gross domestic product growth, soared over 7% in 94, 95 and 95, 96. Exports also have grown very substantially, and there was foreign investments flowing in also very high. If I take through the foreign direct investment figures, in 1991 the FDI approvals were around 5,300 million rupees, whereas the actual inflows were 3,500 million. The same thing in 1996, the FDI approvals were 361,500 millions, whereas the actual inflows were 84,400 millions. So, the actual inflows, if you compare 91 it was 3,500 millions and 96 it was 84,400 millions. There was a time lag between the approvals given and the actual money flow. But definitely if you compare 91 to 96, there was a very large percentage of increase in foreign direct investment. And similarly, price level has been stabilized, and the poverty, the level of poverty in India, though it is subject to differences of opinion, but fact is fact, the statistics prove that there has been substantial reduction in the level of poverty in India. And those figures can be substantiated when you go through the figures which is being presented. And in the organized manufacturing sector, we added around 1.8 million jobs in 1990s compared to less than 500,000 jobs in 1980s. This is what the major thing we can see. After all, the common man looks at the employment,
Yes.
or the educated people look at the employment. So, in 1990s, the employment opportunities provided were half a million, less than half a million. In 90s, it went to close 1.8 million jobs. That was a very substantial thing.
Because so many new organizations
So many
came
new
into
organizations came in, lot of
existence.
opportunities were
Opportunities were
created. This is broadly what I wanted to touch with when we want to know the impact of the economy. But then the international magazine, which quoted about the Indian economic package reform and its impact, I just read out. This is a Asia Week 1996, when it said that India has proved to the world that despite its chaotic political scenario or imbalanced wealth distribution or redundant bureaucracy, etc., it can implement sustainable restructuring, economic restructuring in the world's most populous democracy. Why it is focusing on most populous democracy is, any new measure you want to bring about, it becomes quite difficult because of the size of the country, because of the institutions what you have, where you have to bring about lot of mindset change. Okay. So, India has the potential, so it feels that India has the potential, but the strong economic performance of recent years requires continuing efforts to deepen it and make it work. So, this is definitely a compliment to the Indian economy and the leadership of the Indian economy, particularly during post-reform
Post-reform period.
process.
Post. So far we discussed in general the changes that have taken place in our economy. So, will you please throw some light specifically on industrial sector, how the changes have taken place in industrial sector?
Yes, madam. There is substantial growth in particularly most visible one today what we are seeing is telecom sector or software sector, banking, and of late it is insurance sector that is making a visible impact
Yes.
among the public
Public.
of the reform process. Therefore, while I broadly covered the impact, what I feel that we should learn how the industry leaders feel about this economic reform process vis-a-vis its impact on their businesses in particular and economy as a whole.
Yeah.
So, let us talk to or let us see the comments of Mr. Damodar Naidu, who is the managing director of a software company in India, in particularly Hyderabad, who is now running the software company and who was there earlier in telecom industry.
Now, basically, this liberalization helped the government to get the quality product on par with the global market. Okay. Apart from that, the local industries, okay, they are seeing what is the global industry standards, and local industries also coming up to their standard. Finally, our aim is to compete with the global industry. So, it is one way better for local industry to see what is going on outside and cope up with the global industries so that we can compete with them. And it improves the standard of both government as well as the standard of the industry.
But there is a criticism that the Indian industries are unable to compete also. They are facing so much of threat from the foreign multinationals and foreign companies.
Somewhere or other we have to face this threat, madam. If today we are not facing this threat, after some time, at least when we want to go to global market, that is inevitable. So at least it is better at least we are facing here in India, then we can go and flourish outside India. This is definitely helping a global scenario, at least Indian economy.
Indian economy.
Yeah.
You are running a software organization.
Yes.
So particularly, what's the impact on this sector, that is on software industries?
Basically, the software industry, what we are concentrating on in outside market. Okay, this globalization, they helped the other industries like global giants are coming and setting up the industry here, and we are also seeing how exactly they are performing, and we are also able to compete with them in the global market.
But there is a mushroom growth of the software organization. So what's the future?
Mushroom, those who are able to sustain during this period, okay, last 2 years is going on very bad, and people are talking very bad about software industry, but definitely whoever sustained during this period, definitely there will be a lot of opportunity for these industries. And global industries, anyway, they are doing well. Earlier, manpower used to go out of the India. Now all the technical pool is available within India, and
Whoever completes engineering, they use it to fly.
Yeah, they used to fly. Now all are available in India, and now we have better access to better technology people in India. Earlier we used to get very bad. We used to never get good technical power here.
Technical manpower. Mr. Naidu, earlier you worked even in Indian Telecom also.
Yeah.
Earlier there was almost monopoly for telecoms. No other phones were available. And later gradually this pager service came into existence, and now next mobiles and cell phones, everything. So what's the impact of all these private organizations which are providing these telephone services to the public on the Indian telephone industry?
Yeah, Indian telephone, it is the right direction. I think this competition has come up. It's a competition with the DOT. Now they are also setting up the basic service. Now, Indian, like DOT also, they improved a lot. Now BSNL, they have really come up with the expectation of the consumer. Otherwise, earlier the service was really bad. Now they are coming up to the expectation of the customer because there is a competition by the private industry. So this is a right competition.
So it's a welcome feature.
Yeah, it is a welcome feature for the consumer, for the country also.
Similarly, we were able to see a lot of activity in Hyderabad. In addition to a national capital Delhi, the call center industry, which is really making noise in terms of business activity and in terms of employment generation, etc. So, we will talk to or we listen to the Mr. Flight Lieutenant Bipin Chandra is the Vice President India Operations of Nova Solutions Private Limited.
If you look at the past decade, there's been definitely a lot more influx of the MNCs coming to India in a diverse sectors, whether you look at the sectors like FMCG, or if you look at the software or telecom, or even insurance, which is the latest ones.
Yeah.
And if you look at even the core sectors like coal and steel, a lot of MNCs come into the picture. That's where they're finding the advantage of walking to India, because the economy of scale that the Indian continent can offer, given the large resource pool, is what the Western countries are missing today and want to leverage upon by coming to India.
So, as you said just now, even in fast moving consumer goods, even cosmetics or even electronics or electricals or automobiles, so much of competition is increasing. The customer, I think, is a totally confusing state right now. Which product to be selected, what is it? So, what is your reaction?
Well, I think it's a question of what you say, it's having, just to give you a typical example, about 12 to 15 years back, if somebody wanted to buy a car, the decision was very simple. You had only Ambassador Fiat.
Yes.
But today, if you look at the automobile market, particularly four-wheeler, there are about 64 to 67 models available in India. So it goes two ways. One way is, you have a larger choice, therefore you can actually kind of choose the one which has the features and the best that is suitable for your family requirement. And the other side is that, the too much choice makes you that much more tricky to understand. But personally, I would say that the human beings that we always look for larger variety of choices and also more of customization to our individual tastes. So maybe the way we are going ahead, be it because of liberalization, government policies, or be it because of the economy of scale that the country is offering, more players and more choice is actually good for our economy in a true sense.
You are running a software organization.
Right.
So, what's the impact of this LPG on your software industry?
See, one of the biggest things that happened for the software industry along with the liberalization scheme, the STPI scheme, and certain 100% UOE schemes that the government of India has introduced, and which has been taken up quite well by certain state governments like Maharashtra and AP and Karnataka, has encouraged a lot of the MNCs to come to India for one. And the second is, a lot of Indian entrepreneurs have been prompted to set up their own base in India, because you have a lot of tax exemptions, and that gives, and also there are further to that, this government of AP, for example, has introduced schemes like investment subsidy for the last few years, wherein which there's a dual advantage. One, the entrepreneur is not paying a tax based on the profits that he's earning. The second, based on the capital investment that the entrepreneur is making, there is a subsidy that he is able to get back from the government. So there is definitely been a big positive skew for the IT sector as far as the LPG is concerned in India.
So, how you are trying to face the competition from MNCs and foreign companies in this particular sector?
At the end of the day, if you're in a protected environment like what India was till about the mid-80s, you can actually take the consumer for a ride. I'm not saying that people did that in India, but there was a possibility. But now with a lot more competition, a lot more choices to the common man, every corporate has to be that much more diligent in the delivery of their services or the product, because the consumer has the choice to walk away from you if you don't deliver quality. At the same time, we've also had certain exemplary examples where we've been able to give quality, and we've been able to have our own stand even in the competition of the big MNCs. And as long as we are able to deliver quality and the right product and be able to address it to the right niche market, I do not see that as a detriment. On the contrary, I would say that it's a complementary, because more competition leads, or rather goads, the environment to become more innovative and more creative, which in turn leads to better utilization of the products that we're building.
Would you like to offer any suggestions that how reform should be in future?
Probably where we're going from is that the one thing which I have personally faced and which I have seen is that the reforms are good on paper, but when it comes to implementation, there is a lack of sincerity, or probably there is a lot of initiative problems in the government. And like we're talking about a lot of, take an example from the
Please.
IT sector that I'm in. The government is encouraging people to set up shop and kind of encourage, growth in India. But the biggest problem that the government is not able to address is the bandwidth problem, where there is insufficient bandwidth. And the second, which is a trickier problem for most of us in the IT industry, is handling organizations as devotee, which refuse to move with the pace at which the government wants to move. So therefore, the government will have to revitalize the way the government bureaucracies or the government departments are working, because it's only to create a good policy is less than half the job done unless the policy can be implemented in a way which can actually yield results. Because at the end of the day, what matters for the country and what matters for each one of us is what is the result that comes out of creating a policy or a procedure. If the result is not there, there's no point in saying that we have excellent policies. It really would not make sense for any of us involved in this country.
So thank you, Mr. Bipin. Thank you.
Sure, thank you, welcome.
So, Mr. Rao, so far we discussed the impact of all these reforms, particularly on industrial sector.
Yes.
So, next to industrial sector, the government concentrated on banks, the financial sector, the two particularly on banks, particularly by appointing the Narasimham committee, number of they recommended a number of measures to streamline the banking sector. So, what's the impact of these reforms on banking sector?
The impact of banking sector is quite visible even to the common man. New banks have been set up in private sector, and also there are overseas banks which have been doing business in India. The most significant change is that these banks can also go for public issue. Which banks? The banks which are in scheduled nationalized banks.
Nationalized banks.
Earlier, these nationalized banks were not allowed to go for public issue, and today they are allowed to public issue. They went to public issue, they mobilized a lot of money, and now coming with lot of innovative products to the Indian consumer, what you can see in auto loans or home loans, apart from the industry what they are really industry is benefiting.
They are giving so many personal loans
So many personal loans.
to the customers.
Now,
even the level of customer satisfaction also increased to a great extent.
definitely.
Because of the
To a
introduction.
very large extent, customers are satisfied now. But still, compared to private sector banks, I have probably I would put is a slight criticism to the nationalized banks. In terms of service, still they have got a lot to do to improve to compare with private sector banks. Now, let us listen to Mr. N.V. Jagannathacharyulu, is the branch head of Bank of Bahrain and Kuwait, which has set up their bank in Hyderabad, and also they were doing business in India for the last about 2 decades.
We opened our branch in Hyderabad on 23rd March 95, and we have one more branch at Bombay for the last 2 decades. Our total in India we have about 2 branches in Bombay and Hyderabad, and we are planning some more branches in the coming years.
So, in AP only one branch is here, only at
Yes, ma'am. To be precise, in southern India we have one.
Only one.
No,
So,
mostly
actually
catering to the needs of Chennai, Bangalore,
all the
and
4
Kerala,
southern
all the
states.
4 southern states.
Actually, what prompted the management of this bank to open a branch in India, particularly in Andhra Pradesh? Is it because of the liberalization of financial sector or any other reason?
No, to be precise, in Bombay we are here for the last 2 decades. It may not be completely, we cannot say that is for liberalization. It is only to do, ours is a totally commercial branch. And in Hyderabad, okay, to a certain extent I agree with you. That is, this liberalization helped us in expanding our branch network.
So, whatever the changes that have taken place in Indian banking sector during last decade?
Okay, well, you must be, particularly the common man must be observing with a lot of anxiety that the interest rate scenario is falling down.
Yeah.
This, one of the most critical point is that interest rate, previously it is under regulatory of Reserve Bank of India. Now it is totally deregulated, and every bank on its own, depending upon the assets and liabilities position, it can fix its interest rates and deposits.
On its own.
and so on.
So, what are the other changes about customer services? Or
Yes,
all those things?
one is a prime lending rate. This prime lending rate is now it is depending on floating rate. Previously, all these advances are under one constant rate. Now it is more or less on floating rate. So different tenors, a different period of interest rates are being offered for advances.
Even with this liberalization, number of foreign banks and private banks, they came into existence. They've opened their branches in India also. So, what's the impact on Indian banking sector?
Exactly. Now Indian banks they woke up completely because of foreign banks invasion. To be precise, I mean I can call it as invasion. The foreign banks they're liberally opening their branches.
Yeah.
So Indian banks they woke up and technologically, and now they're advancing.
How the customers are receiving all these things, all these changes?
Yes, particularly senior customers, from my experience, I found the senior customers it is a little tough because of this high tech buying.
Yeah.
From personal banking, we moved to high tech banking. But what I said is middle age, below 40 years, below 30 to 40 years, they received these reforms very well.
So, now let us switch over to another sector, that is insurance sector.
Yes, ma'am.
And recently, earlier, its total monopoly was there in the insurance sector. Only Life Insurance Corporation of India, General Insurance Corporation of India, National Insurance Corporation of India, they dominated entered this sector. And now private people are allowed to open, do this insurance business. So, what's the impact on this insurance sector particularly?
Yeah, insurance sector, as you rightly said, there was virtual monopoly from Life Insurance Corporation and also General Insurance Corporation in respect of general insurance.
Yeah.
Earlier, to get a response from LIC, it was, used to take many days. But now, LIC is after you. This is what we are offering, this is what the premiums you have to pay by this time, or if you don't pay by this time, we charge interest only after so many months. Likewise, they are really change this service with reference to customers.
Yeah.
We listen to experts or the officials from the insurance sector. What do they say about these reforms in insurance sector vis-a-vis the competition what they are facing? There are many insurance companies now coming into play or have come into play. Companies like HDFC has got an insurance tie-up, and Tata AIG is another insurance company. ICICI Prudential Life is another insurance company. And similarly, in general insurance also there are a number of players, and particularly TVS Sundaram Group has got into motor transport insurance. There are various players besides our established players. So, we listen to our established player, National Insurance Company, where Mr. Devi Singh, Assistant General Manager, what he has to say.
In 93, government appointed Malhotra committee to examine and give its report on reforms on insurance. The committee gave its report in 1995. It was tabled on the House Parliament desk, and ultimately government accepted the recommendations, and in 2000 the office of IRDA, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, has come into force, and it has now started licensing private operators. As on date, about 7 of them have been given license and they have started their operations.
So, not only in life insurance, I think
I
in
am
all
talking
other
of
sectors.
general. They have done both,
Yeah.
but we have more knowledge about general.
General
Yeah.
insurance. So, what are the services the other organizations are offering? Can you please tell us?
You see, in public sector, we were 4 companies.
Yeah.
We were a subsidiary of GIC. As per now Act passed by Parliament, we have become board-run companies, and we are no longer subsidiary of GIC. GIC has become a reinsurer company, and we had about 150 products on our shelf. The private operators have also started offering their products, but so far no innovative product has come, because we had answer for almost everything, whether it is property, liability, life or limb.
So far, almost insurance sector was monopolized
Exactly.
till the entry of all these private sector firms.
Yeah.
So now there is competition. How your organization is trying to face this competition?
Exactly, I do agree with you. In monopolistic conditions, at times there is a tendency not to give due weightage to the customer, but at times employee also go to the extent, okay, take it or leave it. Now we have become proactive. We know that customer is the focus of our activity, and we have to give him the better services. So on this account, we have taken a few decisions and we have implemented. Number one, we have upgraded our IT. Today, all of our operations, all the operating offices, they are online. Documents policy is issued on the spot. Further, we have entered into some tie-ups with the big business houses. In that case, we have extended our hubs to their premises and documents are generated at their desk. Further, the main purpose of insurance is that at the time of accident which gives rise to a claim, I should be in a position to respond and respond on time. We have upgraded our claim settlement agency. Surveyors have been advised to submit their reports within a given time frame, and I have benchmarked my regional office and divisional offices, even branch office, that they have to take a decision on the claim within a specified time. This has given a boost to my claim settlement ratio, which has jumped from 78% last year to 91% this financial year, just closed in March, and this year my target is 95%.
So there is tremendous increase in the
Definitely.
target.
So privatization has helped us in upgrade
In
our
upgrading your
Exactly.
services and other
Yeah.
things. So from the views expressed by these experts or industrialists, can we come to a conclusion that if the competition is a must, not only for the existence and for the improvement of the organization, but also for the advancement of the economy as a whole? Mr. Rao, what is your reaction?
Yes, I agree with you, madam, that competition is imperative for any business or for any activity and economy as a whole. Now, when there is competition, then we try to excel ourselves. When there is no competition, what we feel that what we are doing is the best. There is nothing where you can benchmark and compare yourself and then see where you stand.
Yeah.
So this competition really helps to benchmark as a standard and work towards the standard to improve your own efficiency.
So thank you, Mr. Rao, for sparing your valuable time and for enlightening our students regarding various aspects relating to this liberalization, privatization, globalization and also stabilization.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.